And I come to you today to speak to a club.
The effects of the monstrous burden of debt.
Un nouveau gouvernement progressiste conservateur.
A majority of my fellow citizens.
The Empire Club of Canada is...
It has provided a stage like no other for prominent people with something to say. For over a century, the Empire Club of Canada has played host to a who's who of monarchs and presidents, world leaders from all fields of human endeavor, every Canadian Prime Minister, and countless others who have made their mark on history. I'm Lloyd Robertson. Please join me in honoring the men and women, past and present, who have given so much to the Empire Club. Through the years, they have generously volunteered their time and energy to maintain one of this country's most venerable institutions. Together, we celebrate the centennial anniversary of an extraordinary organization that has given us so many insights into excellence. The Empire Club actually owes its creation to an historic encounter over 100 years ago.
In 1903, the British representative on an international tribunal voted with his American counterparts to award the Alaskan Panhandle to the Americans, denying Canada roughly 200,000 square miles of what Canadians at the time felt was a legitimate part of Canada. There were a group of gentlemen in the city that felt that the anti-British feelings had gone too far, that people were far too focused on this single event and were beginning to lose their connection with the greater values and virtues of the empire. These 60 people banded together in the spring of 1903 to form the Empire Club.
I think the Empire Club is important because surely a speakers forum welcoming views from all sectors on issues of the day speaks to the essential element of democracy. We must hear all views, and that we must have an opportunity to make our own decisions on those views. This is why I think that having a speaker in front of an audience, being a part of the audience, having an opportunity to see and feel this individual gives you a much better opportunity to evaluate what you're hearing and to appreciate where they stand in the context of the issue you're interested in, or indeed the community you're part of.
The Empire Club seems to address those values which I think are very important to me and I think to most Canadians.
Canadians have always been interested in ideas and issues, and the Empire Club is an ideal venue and platform for people who are leaders in society.
As a speakers forum of record, the Empire Club has transcended almost every subject matter, almost every type of individual and expert in their field. The Empire Club, very much like Canada itself and many other countries, has changed throughout the course of its history. And one of the wonderful aspects of that change is that women have become more involved with the club. It really has changed the outlook of the club, the policies of the club, and the types of speakers that we've had at the club.
Over the years, hundreds of speakers and thinkers have shared their perspectives on issues of national and global significance. And the Empire Club has never failed to give its membership food for thought, fascinating glimpses of celebrity, and for many past presidents, the memories of a lifetime.
I had been advised by one of Reagan's team that I was to meet him at one of 4 different doors. The Canadian room has 4 doors, but that I wouldn't know which door it was until the 11th hour. And I would be told when I was at the head table for security reasons. And so at 7 o'clock, all of the television lights went on in the room. So all of a sudden I am absolutely blinded by the television lights, and this little Secret Service man was supposed to come to the head table and point to the door, and I was to go. But with the lights shining, I couldn't see him. So here's this little guy somewhere in front of the head table trying to catch me and get my attention, and I'm trying to find him, and finally he gets me and he yells, "The kitchen!" So I run over to the kitchen door and I open the door, and there's Mr. President. And I was a little tense, but I said to him, "Mr. President, I have never met the President of the United States in a kitchen before." And he took his great big hand and hit my shoulder and he said, "Well, I've never met the President of the Empire Club in a kitchen before."
Certainly my most eventful lunch was when I invited Dr. Billy Graham to speak. Dr. Graham's had 20 books written about him. He's preached to over 1 billion people. And so I knew that this was going to be a well-attended lunch with a lot of interest. He went through his speech, and it was a rousing speech, and then he stopped about 2/3 of the way through and said that he wasn't feeling well and that he would have to close his speech. Everybody got up and gave him a standing ovation. I went over to the podium to help him into his chair, at which point he fainted in my arms. And I think it speaks to the character of the man that he wanted to give that and wanted very much to deliver that speech to the Empire Club. It was important to him, and he wasn't going to let us down. And I think that's the type of individual that is attractive to the Empire Club, and that's why the Empire Club has such a legacy of wonderful speakers.
My radio announced that Toronto, Canada had a Nobel laureate in chemistry. Professor John Polanyi of the University of Toronto, my alma mater and then employer, had garnered the prestigious award. I rose like a flash, drove to Polanyi's house, delivered the invitation to speak. This was 7 a.m. By noon, Dr. Polanyi had acquiesced. The chemistry was right that day.
And speaking of unique presidential entrances, no one ever said the club had to maintain tradition on everything.
A lot of speakers were fun, some for reasons unintended, but the most fun was when I had Richard Tierlink. He's the chairman, president, and CEO of Harley-Davidson Milwaukee. It was the lunch where you did not have to wear a tie. You could wear a leather jacket, you could wear anything you want. And the OPP and the Toronto Police Department, all very large clients of Harley-Davidson on the motorcycle side. So we had huge marshalling of resources for this. Everybody wanted to participate. And we met up in King City, and the Golden Helmets, the OPP, gave us a ride right from King Side Road right down to the hotel at the Harbourfront, and without stopping once for a red light. And we drove right through the hotel lobby, right around the room, up to the head table on our bikes. You realize that if you pick the right topic, it can touch a lot of people.
UNICEF's battle against the suffering of children.
I was looking for the president of the Union Bank of Switzerland and found out that my partner's wife was shopping in New York with Audrey Hepburn. I said, Audrey Hepburn? Never mind the president of the Union Bank of Switzerland. Get me Audrey Hepburn. When she came, she was charming, absolutely a beautiful woman. She's extremely warm. At the time that she was asked to speak was the Special Ambassador to the United Nations for UNICEF. And she had just been to Somalia. She wrote 13 letters to the hotel staff at the Four Seasons and asked me to hand them to each one of them when she left. No thing was left unturned. She just had that wonderful way.
You get a totally different impression when you actually go to an event rather than just see that event on television. You were there for the entire thing. What others have to say about, be it history, business, theology, culture, the arts, is vitally important. And that coming to see them in person really will give you a different and a better perspective than simply being on the sidelines watching something on television or listening to it on the radio or indeed surfing the internet. And that's why our club, like the Empire Club, is so important and why it deserves to remain as a very positive influence in our country.
If you've got, for a person like Rockefeller or Ford, an audience of 700 or 800 or more men and women, all of them leaders of one kind or another, you've got a direct communication. And each one of them is going to be a communicator.
The Empire Club owes its wonderful history and its grandeur to the volunteers. Over the last 100 years, there have been people that have given unselfishly to the club at all different levels. Whether you're a director, whether you're a member, whether you're a part of the executive, people have given unselfishly of their time to help grow this organization.
I'm proud to be a director of the Empire Club of Canada. I feel very, very strongly personally about diversity of opinion, diversity of ideas in this country, and I do believe that the Empire Club can play a strong role in that and does play a strong role in promoting that across the country.
The committee have a huge sense of pride, commitment, passion, and also worry because we have to do it right.
The Empire Club is part of the family. My grandfather spoke here 84 years before I spoke to the Empire Club in 1994. There's a long tradition.
I'm one of 100 presidents. I did my thing for 1 year, and I've been involved in a lot of sort of non-for-profit charitable kind of stuff. But the great advantage to the Empire Club is the sense that you've achieved something. I mean, we all are happy about what we do in our life. We don't do it unless we feel some sense of achievement, and I certainly feel that I did my little bit in that 1 year to keep the tradition of the Empire Club alive. I think the nature of the media is different, but that still means informed opinion has to be expressed and it has to be recorded. That's what we do, and we're going to keep doing it.
We have recorded all the speeches of the last 100 years, and every year a book is produced and published and distributed to all of our members, universities and schools right across Canada. So we are now incorporating the Book of Record into an internet site whereby people can go onto the Empire Club website and learn what Sir Winston Churchill, what Audrey Hepburn, Ronald Reagan, the greats that have spoken to the club in the last 100 years and into the future.
This is a forum for discussion, for ideas, for debate, for thinking. Understanding is how we are going to move forward in our relationships with each other and with other countries, and I very much appreciate what the club does in making that possible.
Being the Centennial President of the Empire Club of Canada is an amazing opportunity and a great honor for me. I've had the opportunity of benefiting from years and years, 100 years in fact, of past presidents, directors, and members of the club that have nurtured and grown this organization to the magnificent place that it holds in history today.
Today, the Empire Club looks beyond national borders to a global community that increasingly turns to Canada to share our values and our view of the world. As a proud Canadian, I would like to add my congratulations to the Empire Club for its 100 years of service to Canada and wish it continued success in its second century of achievement. Thank you.
Want to error code. You're not the paper. You're getting error code. There's wild Indians now third place. In this average of the year, the first year, high and low. Tell me what. Maybe that versus 27. 60. Mercury difference. Solid. 80. 8. 83. So about 5. The diet.